Sure. It's an amazing event. It's really hard to explain what the event is all about, but it's a 3-day event. It's called Secret Knock. It's called Secret Knock for a reason. They don't tell you who's going to be here or where it's going to be held until about 2 or 3 weeks before the event.
Oh, wow.
Today, actually, some of you may remember a TV show back in the old days called The Munsters with Eddie Munster. He's actually one of the speakers that's going to be on today. I only found that out because I saw him walk in the room. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known that he was speaking. But there's movie stars, there's multimillionaires and billionaires that get up on stage to speak, to help us to grow our own businesses, our own lives. You may have also heard of a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus by John Gray. He was the last speaker that actually happened right before lunch. And he is, I gotta tell you, he is hilarious. He was so funny. I can't even tell you some of the things he talked about. But really, it's about, again, about helping us to up-level our own minds. And I love hanging out in this space because, I'll get into my story in a little bit. So never mind. It's an amazing event. You should be here.
Exactly. Sorry, I was trying to multitask. I was streaming it onto the
Don't
Facebook
do that. No multitasking
while I was
allowed.
talking to you. All right. Well, some of you may know Fari is not able to be here today because she got COVID, and that is why Lynda is taking the wheel and helping us with the grand finale of the Author Equals Authority Summit. So thank you again, Lynda, for being so awesome to jump in last minute like this and provide us with even more value. So I can go ahead and start the presentation if you like.
Yeah, introduce me maybe a little.
Yeah, well, I think everybody knows how awesome you are, but Lynda is a 22-time number.
22. That's
22 times. I got the number right. Okay. #1 international bestseller. And she is the CEO of Action Takers Publishing. And she has multiple collaboration books that have gotten to the bestseller as well. And she is going to tell you all about how to monetize your book, because just relying on the royalties from the sale of your book is not exactly the way to look at it. There's a lot more to it than that. Would you like to say anything else before we get into the presentation?
Let's get into it. Let's just
get
into it.
Fantastic.
Woo! Awesome. Okay. First, thanks everybody for being here, supporting Latara on this journey, Author to Authority Summit. I know many of you have been here. Maybe some of you have been here every day, and some of you have been here many days. I saw several of you when I presented the other day. So today's topic is going to be a little bit different than that one. That one was the 10 ways to become a best-selling author. Today, we're going to be talking about how to monetize that, because being a best-selling author is really awesome, and that's really cool. It adds to your credibility, but there's also that next step is how am I going to make money? There's an investment of time, energy, effort, and money that goes into publishing a book. So how can we make some of that money back? How can we make all of that money back? Or how can we make and then some back, right? So let's work on that today. So we'll be talking about 10 ways to monetize your book. And there are more than 10 ways. These are just 10 of the ways that we're mentioning. We're going to talk about briefly today. We have a short time for the presentation. I know the woman that was scheduled to speak today, she got COVID, and we will be talking a little bit about imposter syndrome. This is something I experience on a regular basis. Here I am at an event today with multimillionaires and gazillionaires. One of them has become a friend of mine, the founder of Priceline.com, that he sold for $10 billion. Okay, so imagine you're showing up to a room like that. I experience imposter syndrome when I walk into these rooms. So we will be talking about that a little bit at the end, and I'll share with you some of the tips that I use that help me to go through those imposter syndrome situations and to jump into it. Like today here, Latara reached out to me. I'm at this event. I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a blast. I mean, it is so much fun. I'm making incredible connections. being able to talk to John Gray, the author of, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Just being able to talk to somebody like that is such a fascinating opportunity, because how often does that happen? So anyway, when Latara reached out, I said, yes, of course, because I'm always up for sharing the knowledge that I have and helping people to up-level themselves. And that's the space that I hang out with, and which is so awesome. And I'll share, before we get into that, just a little bit about my story. Is I wasn't always this way. I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household where kids were better seen than heard, where I was stupid and ignorant, my voice didn't matter, sit down and shut up, all these different things that were said to me. And what's fascinating about being at Secret Knock is I'm meeting a lot of the same people that grew up in the same types of environments. But what they did is they said, you know what, screw you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'm better than that. There's more for me out there. They didn't let what those people said direct them. So what I'm noticing is that since the vast majority of them were like that, what was it different about me? Why was it that I allowed what those people said? My 8th grade math teacher, who said, you should just quit at math. You're never going to be any good at it. And so when I think about those types of people, like, I quit math because she told me I was never going to be any good at it. So what was it different about my life and who I am that made me say, okay, I believe that all those negative things about myself, as opposed to those people who said, no, I'm not going to believe in that stuff. Like the founder of Priceline, Jeff Hoffman, he talks about how he grew up in an environment where his mother always told him, you're never going to have this, you're never going to have that, because we're poor. This is the way we live. Poor people, they're always going to be poor. That's the life that he grew up in. But he said, you know what, to himself, he said, Mom, watch me. Just watch me. I'm going to do something different. And he ended up becoming a billionaire. And so my point here is that we don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. When we look at them, we see where they are today. We don't know where they came from. So we might look at me and say, wow, 22 times, #1 international best-selling author, and think, wow, that's amazing. Look at her. But see, I wasn't always that way. So we all can achieve so much more in our own lives if we strive for it, if we want to, if we have a goal, if we have a vision, and if we, most importantly, if we take action. Because we can desire, manifest, pray for, and you say, I want things all day long. But if they're staring us in the face and we don't take the action, nothing is going to happen. And so Action Takers Publishing is actually stemmed from the event I'm attending today, because I found that the people at this event, they're massive action takers. I've been attending since 2015. I have not missed a single event. They're 1 or 2 times a year. So I've attended several of these, like 14 or 15 of them. And by being surrounded by these action takers, I realized that that was what was missing in my life. I wasn't an action taker. Well, I was an action taker, but I would take action and I wouldn't finish. I was a starter, not a finisher. So I took action, but I didn't know how to finish. These people taught me how to do that. And the reason I'm sharing that today is because oftentimes what's holding us back is that we don't know the steps to take. We don't know the final steps to take to finish. And that's what I needed in my life. I needed those people that could teach me how to finish. I didn't grow up in that environment. I grew up in an environment that complained about everything and didn't take any action to change anything. So changing my mindset has been an incredible journey, and getting to the point where I can stand before you and say, as of today, 100% of the books that we have published, there's been 14 of them so far in a year and a half. Every single one of them has become a #1 international best-selling book. And that was through the process of connecting with these people that I know that have helped me to see myself differently, who saw in me what I didn't see in myself, and who lifted me up and are carrying me with them. They're like, let's go, Lynda. You just need to do this one step. This is what I love about what we do here at Action Takers Publishing, because it really is about lifting others, it's about helping them on the journey, getting to them to that place that they want to be in relation to the book publishing. In addition to that, we help you to get your voice out there, to be seen and be heard. We have many opportunities for that. And this is, again, what I love about this is that I'm able to take what I've learned from these people that I've learned from, and I'm able to impart it to my environment. The people who are coming up with me, they're like, I want to be there, Lynda. Maybe you don't want to be a 22 times, #1 international best-selling author. These are my goals. Like my goal is 100 by 2020, the end of 2024. So I've got my work cut out for me. Will it happen? Yes, of course it will. I just believe in it that it will happen. So what we're going to talk about today is monetizing your book. And you've put this work into it, whether you're in a collaborative book where you have one chapter, or it's your whole book that you've written yourself, or you've had a ghostwriter write it for you. There are ways to monetize that book, to monetize that chapter. Just recently, as I was at the event today, there was a gentleman who they asked him about a book that he was in. And he so proudly mentioned, I co-authored a book with John Gray, and it's called XYZ, for example. I don't remember the title of the book, but he was so proud of that. And then he was able to monetize that. So today in some of, Latara is going to show some slides. I'm going to walk through those. I'm going to share with you just briefly how you can utilize these different tips to monetize your book. So Latara, if you can go ahead and share the whatever it's called. I want to call it PowerPoint, even though it's not a PowerPoint. Usually like Canva point, I guess, nowadays. I don't know what it's called. But so what's showing here is Latara is going to bring up the 10 ways to monetize your book. And I'm not sure what happened in that second slide. I'm on my phone and I think I got in there and touched something. So you can go to the third slide. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. So how to monetize your book. Oh, back to #1. There we go. No, #1. The other way. Your other left. I think you could just left arrow. Let's see here. She's got it going on. So how many of you, if you can just share in the chat, how many of you have written a book or have been in a book? Let's see. How many of you written or been in a book? Just go and share. Yes, co-wrote. Awesome, awesome. I love it. Neat. Yeah, Nikki was in the most recent book that we just published called Women Transforming the Landscape of Science and Tech. Congratulations, Nikki. She became a #1 international best-selling author. So not yet, but soon. Awesome. Christine, yes, co-authored. Fantastic. I love it. And two with Lynda. And more to come, right, Alice? Awesome. Alice, you spelled your name wrong, just letting you know. Okay, Latara, do you have the presentation?
Yeah, for some reason it wasn't in presentation mode. It was in play mode. So I
Oh, so you
resized
couldn't go
it. So
backwards.
let's try this again.
Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Again, I'm working off on my phone. I could share my screen, but I couldn't figure out how to do everything on it, being on my phone today. Let's see, we got that. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. So I will share that, making money is one of the things, making money from your book is one of the things that I find to be very challenging for a lot of authors. They write the book and it's not like the field of dreams, write it and they will buy it, write it and they will come. And so what happens is they get stuck in the marketing aspect. When we're talking about monetizing your book, this is through marketing. We do have to push push it out there to let people know about it. As far as the book goes itself, making money from the book, the royalties are minimal. They are minimal unless you're John Gray and you have written, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and then his second book and then his third book, like they all make a lot of money because he's got a marketing system in place. But when he first started, he didn't have that marketing system in place, and he had to come up with different ways. I mean, he had to come up with ways to monetize his book, but then how do I sell the thing? So it really is through our marketing. You can go to the next slide, Latara. And it probably slide 3. Yeah, because that one, I don't know what happened there. Okay, so here's one of the ways is you can host a book signing event. So you have your book. Even if you're in a collaboration book, you can do this as well. You host a book signing event, and a book signing event does not have to be at a bookstore. So I'll share a story. Sally Green, she is our vice president of author development. She and her friend decided to host a book signing event with one of the collaboration books that they're in together. And they just went to a local coffee shop, in town. And they were like, okay, we'll get some flyers. So they created some flyers, put them in the coffee shop. they hung a couple of them around near the coffee shop so people would see them. And then they ended up, I think they bought 20 books each, and then they sold something like 25 books that day. So it wasn't a lot of money, but it is a way to make money. They sold the books for $25 each, and they got them for, I think it was $9 each. So they made a profit of, was that $16 per book. So that's one way that you can do it. I'll come back to any questions later, but yeah, go ahead and put those questions in the chat. That would be awesome. And so hosting a book signing event can be anywhere. Do you have you could do it at a senior center. If your book is something that's going to help, seniors, you can do a book signing event at a senior center. So really think about along the lines of, who are the people that my book is going to support? Who are the people that are going to want to read my book? Who are the people that my book is really going to help? And try to think like outside of the box of where you can host a book signing event. Of course, the more people that are at the event, better. So if you could host an event, like let's say there's an event that you attend, maybe with, I'll just throw like the Rotary, for example. You attend a Rotary event once a month, and there's 40, 50 people there. Just reach out to them and say, hey, I've got this book. It's called, it's called this. And I was wondering if I could host a book signing event, at the next meeting. Just reach out to people. The worst thing that can happen is, the worst thing that can happen is that they don't respond. That's the worst thing. They can totally ghost you and never respond. So the second worst thing that can happen is that they say no. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the word no. If we don't ask, first of all, the answer is already no. But even more important, if we don't ask, we have decided for them. We've decided that the answer is no if we don't ask. So just put yourself out there and think about, like, where are some places that I could do a book signing event, 10, 20 books, 30 books, however many books that you want to bring to the event to sell them. And you can sell them for, just as long as you sell them for more than you paid, you're going to make some money, even if you mark it up only $1. But it's really about getting yourself out there and getting your message out there. So go to the second slide, please. So number 2 is to, start a podcast or be on a podcast. A book is a great way to get yourself on a podcast, because whatever that topic is, and in that book, so as we talk about, Nikki's book, she's, women transforming the landscape of science and tech. So this is women and this is tech related. Because it's women and tech related, it's going to be easier for her to get on a podcast or a show when it's a podcast or show that's related to the STEM or STEAM areas and women in that particular area in particular. So she can say, hey, I'm an author in this book, #1 international best-selling book. I'm looking for opportunities to share my message on podcasts, or on your show or whatever it is. And you just reach out to them. Again, if we don't ask, the answer is no. If we don't ask, we have decided the answer is no for them. Starting your own podcast. So we'll use the book that's showing here on the screen here, Women with Healing Gifts. This is a book that's going to be launching in the next, I think it's 3 months from now. This book will be launching. And so if what we could do with this book is, if one of the authors wanted to do this, I say one of the authors, because this isn't something we do as publishing company. We're not, healing gifts isn't our thing, right? Our message in particular, but we publish the books because it's in the personal development space. And so one of the authors could say, hey, ladies, let's do our own podcast. They could do episodes with the authors in it, and then they can invite people from the outside as well to be interviewed on that podcast. But it's a great opportunity for that book to get its message out there, but also the connections of the authors. Now I'm working with the other authors in the book. So collaboration books are an amazing opportunity to do collaboration, right? It's really about collaborating with each other and thinking, what are some things that we can do as a whole with the book? Now, if you're the one that wants to head up something like that, like is it in this example, starting a podcast with a collaboration book that you're in, this is awesome, because you will be seen as the authority of the authority, because you're the one who's creating something for the other authors in the book. So Latara, next slide. I feel like I'm on a game show or something. Speaking gigs, the opportunity again to being that authority in that space. You're the authority on the topic. So this one, Embrace Courage. This book was all about men and women who have been through fearful situations, and they broke through those fears that they had, and they embraced that courage within themselves to come up and shine the light on themselves. So it's a very moving book with all these different chapters in it again. And the men and women in this book have opportunities to speak about fear, to speak about courage. Nikki's in that book as well. That's right. Thank you, Nikki. And so to speak about courage, to speak about fear, and how can you help other people move through those situations? So thinking about that again, about like, where can I speak? What's a group that could really use my talk? So when we talk about courage, we all have fears. Every single human being experiences fear at one time or another. I actually interviewed a gentleman. His name is, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the TV show that was made after him was called Scorpion. And he has an IQ of 160. So I was like, hey, Walter, do you have any fears? And he looked at me, he said, yeah, I have the fear of boredom. And so I realized what he was actually saying to me is he's like, I'm kind of bored with you right now. You can go. So I said, you're kind of bored with me, right? And he goes, yeah, a little bit. So I went ahead and walked on. I found somebody else to ask about, their fears. So there's this gentleman I know. He's a world-renowned bariatric surgeon. And I asked him, so Doc, do you have any fears? And he said, yeah, I have the fear of insignificance. Now, my point here is that we all have fears. They're just different fears, different levels. And so what is your major fear? If you could break through that major fear, how would your life be different? So it's kind of thinking along that lines. So with this particular book, I could go speak, to different organizations. Maybe there's a women's shelter, or different groups that have maybe children. If you work with children, this would be again a great book that would be a prelude to be saying that I am a #1 international best-selling author, and the topic I speak about is courage. And then this gives you that gateway to be able to speak. So go to the next slide, Latara. Client VIP days. This is really great. So you have this book that you've written, and this is an opportunity for the reader to see that you have what they want. You're the person that's going to be able to help them through that situation, whatever that situation is, whatever your expertise is. Now, by being a best-selling author, a #1 international best-selling author, this just raises your credibility in that space. So with the client VIP days, what these are great for is that you can connect with your clients. You can do 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, do a whole day with them, whether it's on Zoom or it's in person. But again, the book is the catalyst that helps you to get those clients. I myself have hired people for VIP days in order to get, I want fast track. I don't want to take a 12-month course to get through something, or a 5-month course to get through something. I want fast track. So I will always pay extra money in order to get a one-on-one VIP day session with somebody. One VIP day can well over, pay for whatever you invested financially in the book. Single client or a group of clients, yes, you can do both. For the VIP days themselves, though, those are typically one-on-one. To give an example, I hired a business coach to do a VIP day with her. And I said, how about we're doing in person, but my VP of author development, Sally, she's in Connecticut. So I said, okay, well, let's bring Sally on. She'll be with us the whole time. And she says, no, we have to do one-on-one with you for the first day, because we did like a first day, and then the next day was kind of like a wrap up. But she can come in on the wrap up. So in that particular situation, that business coach that I hired, she's very particular about her VIP days. We all get to decide what we want to do with this. So VIP days, what I loved about this as far as the one-on-one is I got undivided attention. I wasn't dividing it with a group. So go to number 5, Latara. And this is, to create and sell courses, again, around your topic, whatever the topic is, the book is. This one, intermittent fasting success story. Paige actually has a course that she sells. And by the way, her book, this has been the most fascinating for us as a publishing company, because Paige's book, we published it on May 1st of 2022. And here we are today, March 22nd of 2023. Her book is still in the top 20. So it's been in the top 20 for almost a year, which is so awesome. I'm so happy for her. And people are finding her book because of the topic, intermittent fasting. People are out there Googling intermittent fasting and they're finding paid. But she has a course. So in her book, she talks about intermittent fasting. And anybody who goes to look her up on the internet, they'll see that she has a course and they may purchase that course. Or you can use the book as a marketing tool to tell people about your course. So by creating and selling a course, again, this is an opportunity for you to make money without having to do any work except the marketing. You do have to do the marketing aspect, but you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel over and over and over again. I'm going to give a suggestion on this is before you create a course, sell the course. Sell it first. Make sure that you have a proof of concept that people will actually pay for. Because if people aren't going to pay for it and you spent all that time, money, energy, effort into building the course and they don't buy it, then you've just spent all that energy on something that people aren't buying. So you get that proof of concept that people are like, okay, awesome. I love this. I'm buying. They bought into your course. Now go create it. So if you're the type of person, I know there are people who will spend a lot of time researching things. They want everything to be perfect. If this is you, this might not be a good idea for you to do this because it might cause a lot of stress. But I'll tell you what, creating a course before you sell it and then not selling it will create some stress too. So which stress do you want to have? The stress, my idea of this is let's have the stress up front that, oh my God, I don't have enough time to put together the course. I'd rather be in that stress mode than I spent all that time, energy, effort, and money, and I didn't make any money back from it. So you can create and sell courses. So number 6 is create a paid membership site. So this would be something that maybe it's kind of like a course, but your people are paying on a monthly basis in order to be part of this program that you have. You could put something together. This book right here was Escape the Tutoring Trap. This is from our client Kohila. She's actually here with me at Secret Knock, which is cool because I had an opportunity to meet her in person this week. But this book here, it helps it helps teachers to get out of the teacher rat race and to get into their own tutoring, to be able to help people with tutoring kids instead of making money through school. They get to make their own money, have their own business. But she could create a paid membership site where it's like constant support. Okay, everybody, this is a paid site. It's $100 a month. And for this $100, you get XYZ. I'm going to help you to become a tutor. I'm going to help you to learn how to sell the tutoring program, or whatever it is that she's doing with this this particular program here. And so the membership site could really be something where maybe you had a VIP day with somebody, and then you move them into a membership site where they still pay on a monthly basis to get information from you, to have touch base with you. Because a lot of times what we're really looking for is that continual residual opportunities to connect with us. So are we providing these opportunities for our clients? Or are we just giving them something and then when it's done, we're out of the picture? They still need help, but it's ideally if they would get that help from you instead of going to someone else to get that help. So creating a paid membership site, you can do this for free. You don't have to go all fancy. You don't have to go to Kajabi and the ClickFunnels. You don't have to do all that stuff. You can literally do this on Facebook. You can do this on WhatsApp if you're using WhatsApp. You can do this on Telegram, on Instagram, not Instagram, on Telegram. But there are different places that you can create this paid membership site, and it doesn't have to be fancy. When I first started doing masterminding, I used to run a women's mastermind program. I ran it for 6 years. I ran it successfully for 6 years, and I didn't have a website. All I had was Facebook. We communicated on Facebook, and then we hopped onto Zoom once a week and had Zoom meetings. That was how I ran it, and I took payments by PayPal. Like, I made it as simple as possible to get it started. We don't have to be great to get started, but we need to start to be great. So that is just create that membership site if this is something that interests you. Latara, number 7 is sell exclusive bonus materials, such as additional or extra chapters, short stories, or poetry. So you can, inside of your book, you could say, for more short stories, go to and send them to your website. I have some extra chapters that I came up with Like let's say you published your book today, and then you learned something more in the next year, which you probably are because we're ever evolving. So you learn some more things. You can add those extra chapters on a website, a place for them to go, and you can either sell it to them or you can capture their email address. When you capture their email address, you have them into your email pipeline. And this is an opportunity for you to share with them the different things that you're working on so that they have an opportunity to work with you more. Because a lot of times, I don't know about you all, but this is how I am, is that when I connect with somebody and they have like a great way of teaching me, they have a way, the way they speak, the message that they're getting out there, I resonate with them. They're very authentic. When it's all of these things, I look at that person, I'm like, I want to do more with that person. So you have other people who are looking at you in that same way. So as you may be looking at other people, remember there are other people that are looking at you in the same way. And so we want to give them more ways to connect with us, more ways to work with us so that we can help them on that transformational journey that they're on. Okay, then the next one, number 8, is coaching, mentoring, consulting. So I mentioned about my business coach. So I have a business coach, and her book just recently launched. It was the Expert Positioning book, and that book is absolutely amazing. So as I was reading through that book, I'm like, oh my God, I got to hire this lady because it was so amazing, all the things she taught me. And it was just scratching the surface. Our books scratch the surface. We can't possibly teach them everything we know because today I learned something new today as I was at Secret Knock, right? I learned something new all the time because I have my mind open to learning new things. But now we're talking about using the book. So in this book here, Believe All Things Are Possible, this is from Jackie Mott, and she had a very challenging upbringing. Her husband dumped her after 25 years of what she thought was a happy marriage. And so now she helps people through those times that they're going through a divorce or they've gotten divorced recently, and she helps them through those times, the mindset to get out of the like, oh my gosh, I was dumped, my life is over, into a different mindset. So she does coaching, she does mentoring, she does consulting, she does all these different things to help people move through that stage. Now, if you're reading her book and you're like, oh my God, this is an amazing book, I absolutely love it, and there's a way for people to connect with her because of that book, then this helps them to get into her like her sphere of influence and to work with her. You're reading a book, you think it's awesome, you reach out to the person who wrote it and say, hey, can you help me with this, with whatever it is, right? And this is another way for you to, again, make more money than you would with your book sales. Number 9 is, we're getting down to the wire here. So the workshops, I talked about that in a little way in talking about, having a membership site, kind of like the same with the workshops and the summits, the webinars. These are opportunities for us to get in front of people, not to make a lot of money here. You can make some money here, doing workshops. You can charge, I've seen $29, $49, $129. I've seen all the way up to $299 for workshops. Summits, some people do charge for their summits, like Latara's here is a free summit, but then you can upgrade to VIP. And then webinars, hosting webinars, not about the book itself, but about what you do, but then using the book as leverage. You can mention, in my book, Action Takers Who Step Up and Speak Out, we talk about this in more depth, right? So to get people to go buy the book, but then also you can talk about the different programs that you offer. So if you do one-on-one coaching or group coaching, masterminding, things like that, you can mention those in the webinar. Also in the workshop, we recently did a workshop called How to Write, Publish, Market, and Monetize Your Book the Fast, Fun, and Easy Way, which the next one we're hosting actually is March 27th, 28th, and 29th. If you're one of our authors, you get that as a free offering, so please take advantage of that. If you're not one of our authors, that is a $4.99 pricing on that course that we're doing. But we did webinars to talk about the course that we're hosting. And so we talked using the book as an opportunity to move people into our webinars, as well as moving them into our courses and different things that we're offering. Again, number 10 is to start a paid mastermind masterclass. This is really great because you can use your book as a tool, even if you're in a collaborative book. Now, I want you to hear this one really clearly, because This is a lot of times people don't understand how to utilize, like leverage the collaborative book. It's not only about your story. There's all those other stories that are in there. There's all those other people's messages that are in there. You can actually create a masterclass and or a mastermind about the topic utilizing the chapters in the book. So you could read somebody's chapter and say, oh, I really love the point they made here. I love the point they made here. I love this point. I love, so you can think about like, what are the things that you learned from their chapters? What are the things you learned from your own chapter? And then you can create a whole mastermind about that. So many of you may have heard of the book Think and Grow Rich, or there's the Secret out there. Think and Grow Rich, I have seen so many different either book clubs and or masterminds that were created about the Think and Grow Rich book. And then what they do is they go through one chapter at a time. You talk about it, you see how you can incorporate that into your own life. So these are things you can do with your own book too. It doesn't only have to be with, people who've been around for, that Think and Grow Rich have been around for what, about 90 years, 89 years or something like that. It doesn't have to be about a famous book. It can be your own book, because it's what they're going to learn from the book that you're going to help them with, that you're going to teach them. This is what's going to help them to, again, we want to help people move into that transformational stage and help them to progress in their own lives. So those are the top 10 ways, 10 ways right now that we have to present to you of how to monetize your book. And so we go to the last slide there. You have an opportunity, if you'd like to hop on a call with me, if you want to talk about your own book, just go to actiontakersauthor.com, actiontakersauthor.com. Let's hop on a call, talk about your book idea, or if you want to, look at how you can share your story in a collaboration book. We have many available. One called Never Give Up, that's almost full. I think we have 2 spots left. I'm going to fill those for sure at Secret Knock if I don't fill them here today. But excited to just bring these stories out there into the public and get your story out there, your message out there, and utilize especially if you're in a collaboration book, think about how can I tap into the other people that are in the same book that I'm in, and how can we all leverage each other's names so that we can all make money. Maybe you put on a summit together. These are different ideas of things that you can do to help you to monetize your message, monetize your book. The book is a tool. It's a marketing tool that helps you to get your message out there. So thank you so much for being here today. I feel like I'm in a clubhouse room right now. I got to sign off. Awesome. I see we got Kimberly in the house. Hello, hello. We got Joseph and Christine, Nikki, Martin. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Okay.
Thank you,
Were there
Lynda.
questions?
I know you have like just a few minutes left, but I would love it if you could spend a minute talking about your year of fears.
Oh, sure. I would love to. And in the meantime, if you could, are there any questions that were in the chat? I know
sure. Let me take a look.
I think there was one I saw, but I wasn't sure if it was a question or if it was a comment, like a statement. So I just want to make sure.
Okay. A single client or a group of clients, Joseph said.
Yeah, so I addressed that one.
Okay. And then he made a mention of, in general, if you're selling on Amazon, it is 40% of the sale price. I'm not quite sure I understand. Is it 40% of the sale price, the split for a $15 book, $6 each?
How Amazon works is they keep about 70%. They keep about 70% of the money. So whatever because they have, and it's not like they're keeping 70%. There's the printing and shipping cost, right? So you're going to get about 30%, and it's not an exact science to it, but it averages out to about 30% that you will get. So for a book that you're selling for $15, you might get $1.50 or $2, and that's what you're going to get. So if you think about that, book sales, I got to sell 1,000 books to make maybe $3,000. 1,000 books is a lot. The average author sells 200 books on average. Now, we're not talking about the John Grays and the J.K. Rowlings and Stephen King. We're talking about the average. This is an average of all the millions of books that are out there. So you're going to make $2 to $3 a book, and so that's not the way to make the money, unless, again, unless you're going to sell, tens of thousands or millions of those books.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think that's all. I think that's all the questions.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, we're like fighting the clock here. So, can you tell us a little bit about your fears and your resulting publication because of that?
Yes, definitely. In 2015, in 2014, I was driving to work. I was on my 49th job after 36 years in the corporate world. I was working for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. And as I was driving to work, I had one of those moments of how, oh my gosh, like, why am I here? I have no purpose. I have no value. There's no reason for me to be here. All I do is push papers around for a judge. Like, that was my life. That was how I saw my life. And when I got to work that day, it was actually, the answer came. It was in the form of a life coach. It's like, hire this life coach and find out why you're here. And so I ended up hiring her, and I worked with her for 5 months. And it was extremely transformational, those 5 months. But then what happened is I was by myself after working with her, and I still wanted to grow. I still wanted to change myself. And on January 1st of 2015, that morning, I woke up and I said to myself, I have so many fears that are stopping me from living my life. From this point forward, I'm going to change my life, but I'm going to break through one fear a day for an entire year first and see how my life changes, how it continues to change. Well, during that year, I ended up doing some things that I never would have imagined doing. They were never on my trajectory. They were not even things that I even knew about that I could do, because I had so much disbelief in myself. And one of those was to have an opportunity to be in a collaboration book. Now, the book was called Footsteps of the Fearless. My mentor, who became my mentor, was putting together this book. And I said, yes, I'll do it. It was a $6,000 investment. I didn't really have $6,000 to invest, but I wanted to change. I wanted to change the way I was living my life. I wanted to change the way I was showing up. And so I said yes to that opportunity. When an opportunity comes by, how often do we actually take that opportunity? I like to say, see the opportunity, then seize the opportunity. It's in the seizing of that opportunity that something will happen. We don't always know what's going to happen. And I had no idea at that moment what was going to happen. So I was in that book called Footsteps of the Fearless. And at the end of that year, I was done facing those fears. I broke through 365 fears in a row. And my mentor said, you need to write a book about it. So hesitatingly, I wrote a book about it called The Year of Fears. I wasn't a writer. I wasn't a reader. I wasn't even interested in writing. But I wrote the book, The Year of Fears. 3 months after I wrote that book, I met somebody who read my book, and she said, I read the first 14 pages and I already broke through 5 fears. That was the moment that I realized the power of our stories. They're not for us. They're for the reader. They're for the person who needs to hear that message right now. And so I went ahead and asked myself a question. It's like, what am I going to do next? I was in a book. I wrote a book. I'm going to follow my mentor's footsteps, and I'm going to start putting together my own collaboration books. So that was how this whole thing started. Like, I'm going to do this for fun. And it was just for fun. So I reached out to the founder of UGG Boots, the inventor of the credit card magnetic strip, the creator of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, because I happened to meet them at this event called Secret Knock. And I reached out to them and asked them if they would be in a book I was putting together, and they all said yes. So I ended up putting that book together called Momentum, published it. It became a #1 international best-selling book, to my surprise, because I didn't know what I was doing. But I had systems in place, and I had a mentor that I followed, and this mentor taught me what to do. And so I took those steps. So after that, I decided, I'm going to do this again. That was a lot of fun. And that's when the next 2 books came up, The Fearless Entrepreneurs and Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. Alice here is in The Fearless Entrepreneurs, and put those books out to get together about 8 days apart. They both hit #1 international bestseller status. And I looked at that and I said, wow, this is awesome. I love this. This is so much fun. And I know what I'm doing, and I'm damn good at it. This is what I'm going to do. And I dropped everything else I was doing. I literally called my clients and I said, no more mastermind. Monday's our last meeting. I'm going to refund you any money I owe you because I'm doing book publishing. And ever since that day that I decided to do that, which was September of 2022 to September 2021, we published 14 books, all to #1 international bestseller status. So when you have make a decision on something you want to do in your life, go all in, put it out there and do it. You got to take that action in order to make it happen. So I'm the result of saying yes to myself, saying yes to others, seeing opportunities and seizing those opportunities. So that's what I'm all about. Like, you got to take action to make things happen. Nothing will happen if you don't take that action.
I love it. Thank you. And just to bring it all home, what do you say to people who ask, well, how do I do this when I'm afraid?
Yeah, my thing here is just to do it because you're scared. So if we look at fear, look at all the fears you've had in your life that you've actually broken through, and think about what was the result you got from breaking through that fear. And were you proud of yourself? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that. Did you meet somebody on the other side of that fear that helped you with your life, that helped you to move into a different space, that introduced you to people that you didn't even know about? Was an opportunity shown to you that you didn't even imagine? This is what happens the vast majority of the time when we break through our fears, even if it's simply, I'm so proud of myself, even just that one thing. So I say to do it because you're scared. Because why would you deprive yourself of being proud of yourself? Why would you deprive yourself of stepping through a door that you didn't even know was there? Like, not about stepping through an open door. No, a door you didn't even know was there. Oftentimes this is what will happen. It's because I did 365 days of fears every single day for 365 days in a row, that I had the opportunity to meet Jack Canfield, interview stars on the red carpet, become a 22 times #1 international best-selling author, make these connections that I'm making over here. I interviewed the president of Mexico in his presidential suite. Interviewing isn't my thing. It's not like what I do, but I love doing it. And I had these opportunities afforded me because I stepped through that very first door of fear. And I did that 365 days in a row. And I got to tell you, my entire life has shifted. So I'm not saying you have to do it every day, but I am saying that when you're experiencing fear, recognize this is fear. I'm going to do this because I'm scared. Just changing that one word, because I'm scared, will transform your life.
Woo, love it. Powerful. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Thanks again for being here today. I'm hoping that everybody out there listening gets a lot of value out of this. Jacqueline said, as Richard Branson says, say yes to the opportunity, then figure out how to do it. Yes, I love that quote. It's one of my favorites. But just knowing that everything that you want, all of that opportunity is on the other side of you breaking through that fear. So that's a beautiful.
And I'm going to take that quote I'm going to take that quote one step further, because Richard Branson, he's like this multimillionaire, and I'm not anything like that. But I'm sure from a different perspective is what was the saying again? Take the fear and
say yes to the opportunity, then figure out how to do it.
Yeah. So say yes to the opportunity and find somebody else who can help you do it.
Yes.
So much better,
yes.
so much faster.
Yes.
Because if I'm going to figure it out, it means I got to go to Google, I got to go YouTube, and I might never figure it out. But if I have a mentor and a coach who's already doing it successfully, it's going to help me a lot faster.
Right. Yes. Yes. And in that vein,
Richard Branson, I upped him.
Yeah, and in that vein, if you're finding that you're beating up against obstacles and you can't get through it, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you take Lynda up on her offer of having a one-on-one conversation with you, to see where she can help you out, because she is amazing. She obviously from just hearing her speak, you can probably get that, but she definitely is an action taker, and she will help you become an action taker. So if that's where you're getting stuck, I highly recommend it. And I'll put the link in the chat for everybody who wants to have that introduction with you. So thank you, awesome. Lynda, for being here.
thanks for having me. And sorry I have to jump. You know, it was a last minute thing, so I do have to jump to another appointment. And I'm
Yeah,
excited about that.
no
And
worries.
we're doing a huge world-class book signing tonight at Secret Knock,
Woo!
and you know,
How
one of our
awesome.
books is one of the featured books.
Oh, you muted.
Someone calling me. I've never had a call during a Zoom call.
Oh,
Yeah, so you know, just opportunities, you know, working with us, you have these opportunities that show up, and you never know when they're going to show up and what they're going to be, but there will always be opportunities for sure to connect with you know, the people that I know, as well as to, you know, help you to reach that next level yourself.
wonderful. I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
they're
I
calling me
appreciate your
right now. They're
time.
like, get over here.
All right. All right.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much, everybody.
Have fun at Secret Knock.
Will do. Have a good day. Bye bye,
You
everybody.
too. Thank you.